threw it all away at that first corner, if you remember, and he ended up finishing in 4th position. Ben Crooks, who was the championship leader before Oran Park, but crashed out due to technical difficulties, and he's 3rd place at the moment. It's Florian Strauss who is the championship leader, but he's down in 9th overall so far in practice. May only be doing race runs, of course. No race runs doing qualifying. James Johnson is 4th, coming off for his strong fight back at Oran Park. Adam Egbeer is back after his huge shunt at Oran Park. Took out Lennon and Johnson also in process. Andrea Schmick is 6th, we're very pleased with that. Will Levesque also very pleased. 8th is Gary Lennon after his struggles at Oran Park after the crash earlier on lap 9 when the field was extremely close. It's a very, very close field here today also as well, with Strauss and Nielsen rounding out the top 10, and 5th place in the championship, 6th place in the championship, Norbert Leitner rounding out, coming up in 11th place at the moment. 12th place is John Wilson, who's back after an absence of 3 or 4 rounds. He's had family difficulties. His mother did pass away, unfortunately, so it's great to see him back once again. And our condolences go to him, of course. It would be nice if we could see some cars on track. There we go, thank you. Magically appear. It's great to see John back racing once again and in with the crowd. Steve Davis is 13th. He joined late in practice, not got much practice in so far, not many laps. Josh Barton 14th. 15th is Stenbeck. 16th is Lee Palmer. This is his first run in Division 1 this season. Matt Clark is 17th. Nestor Brock is 18th. 19th is Churchill. 20th is Dobbing, who was missing at Oran Park. 21st is Antonia, who is doing very well in the championship so far this year. 12th overall. Very, very consistent. Picks up the points. Doesn't miss any races or DNF anywhere. Great stuff from him. 22nd is Ivanov, who's back in Serval. Second race of the season in Serval 1 for David Young. 24th in practice for Roy Magnus. 25th, Yara Bernard will be happy with that. 26th, Gardner, and even less unhappy will be Tim Brook in 27th position. He's not enjoying this track at all. 28th is Joachim Skalstad. Can I just say now, I apologise if my voice goes a little space alien sometimes, because I hope it's not doing it right now while I'm explaining, but my mic has a bit of an error on it at the moment, and it ends up creating a weird effect for a few seconds. So hopefully it won't be too bad during this race, but if it is, you just have to cope with it and guess what I'm saying, or laugh at the random tones that come out of my mouth. So, Tobias Schlemo, who's been improving all season long, has taken 2 wins this season, 1 at Melbourne, 1 at Oran Park. Extremely consistent, much more consistent than his more illustrious teammate Florian Strauss, and he's 2nd in the championship, just 18 points behind his teammate. 3rd and 4th are Crooks and Jesper Torborg for My3ID Gaming, and then James Johnson for RBM is 5th, and Norbert Leitner is 6th in the championship, with Nielsen, Lennon, Davis and John Wilson, who's missed 2 rounds at Oran Park and Hidden Valley. He's back, despite the fact he missed 2 rounds. He's still 10th in the championship, showing how well he went before he had to miss races. It's great to see him back, and Tobias Schlemo really has been under charge lately. He's gone on to his first fly, and there's Levesque, and Matt Clark in the background. Following Tobias Schlemo for this lap, he's following his teammate Florian Strauss around actually. Very, very smooth driving from Tobias Schlemo this season so far. Very consistent. We're seeing this right now on the lap with him on this excellent Eastern Creek circuit. This is the second race in a row, sorry, that a track has been laser scanned and is around in this championship. Oran Park, the last one. This one obviously being Eastern Creek, and Tobias Schlemo, just as I say, he's been very smooth. Gets it well out of shape into the final 2 corners and out of it as well. As Florian Strauss crosses the line, what kind of lap time can he do? Tobias Schlemo goes 4/10 faster than his teammate, but those are not lap times we're looking for. Oh yes, they are lap times we're looking for. 28.4 is fantastic for Tobias Schlemo, so despite that big mistake on the exit, He got a fantastic lap and that equals his best practice time, 28.427. So maybe he can even pick up a couple of tenths. So that showed how great that lap was. So I wasn't wrong in saying his lap was very smooth and very good. 4 tenths down already in the first on that lap time. Sprint tyres we're using for this round, for those who don't know, a 75-litre fuel cell. You may see different strategies pan out, but generally the one-stop strategy has been better this season overall. But the tyre here is extremely high, especially on the front right tyres. They do an awful lot of work into all these long corners, as you can see. Very bumpy track as well, very accurate to real life, but it's really putting a lot of strain on the cars. If you can keep the tyres in shape, one stop looks like it will be the best. But if you are hard on your tyres, 2 stops will probably be the best for you. We've lost Flip Antonia from the session. Hopefully he can get back into Paris. Abandons that lap. Tolborg is coming round to complete another hot lap. This won't be a fast time at all. He's gone slowly around that lap just to conserve his tyres possibly. Florian Strauss is third currently. Florian Strauss was concentrating on race pace before. He's immediately gone 3 tenths faster than he did in the first session. And Regmir is 4th. 5th is Anders Nielsen. 4th is Leon Levesque. 6th is Anders Nielsen. 7th is Andrew Schmidt. Coming out of the pits once again for another run. 7th is Steve Davis. Alright, they just jumped up ahead. He'll be pleased with that. He came in late and is immediately right on the pace. But we've seen this before with Steve. Sets a lap time early in the session and just doesn't seem to be able to improve throughout the qualifying session and gets bumped down the order. Anders Nielsen goes through into 4th, driving for Sweekos. Of course, he's teammates to Gary Lennon, who will try and find here, see where he is on track at the moment. Gary Lennon hasn't even set a time, I don't think. Gary Lennon's one of the ones who has not set a time so far. Ben Crooks also. There comes Ben Crooks out of the pits, I believe. No, it's just coming. That was obviously Tolborg coming out of the pits. Tolborg now running the same skin as Ben Crooks this season. They've been running separate skins so far, but the teams have aligned. And now it's just my actual ID skin. Ben Crooks coming through the final corner. Looks like it could be a very quick lap indeed. Coming down towards cut-off point. Not a quick lap at all, actually. 29.2. The cut-off, the start finish line is a lot further down the road than I thought it was. Where is Gary Lennon? Here he is. We'll follow him for a lap around. Keep an eye on the times for you. Anyone going purple or green? There's 1.1 second down already after sector 2. Won't be happy with that currently. Scotsman teaming up with the Swedish driver Anders Nielsen, hence the Sweekos name. Gary Lennon understeered quite a bit there into the final corner. Had to get out of it once again and get the power back in. Still missed the apex and is struggled a little bit on the exit. So across the line is going to be 29 at least, I would say. 29.5. It's been 8th though. Pleased with that. Feels a bit more spread out than they were during practice. Who else is on track who could possibly challenge? Ben Crooks is 1.2 seconds down after the second sector. Here's Jesper Torborg. He's about to start a hot lap. Let's go on board with him for this hot lap. I'm going to go quiet here as we ride around this excellent Eastern Creek circuit, barren Eastern Creek circuit, just outside Sydney. Jesper Torborg exits the final corner. Look how bumpy this track was He went round that lap. What can he do? He was 3/10 down. He's still in second. He has improved his lap time though, 28.795, only marginally. Stays in 7, consolidates at second position. Obviously, as one of the 05 motorsport cars goes off in the background. Tim Brook, it was Steve Davis. And just to let you know, Philip Antonio has got back into the game. He'll be coming around. See, that was like Davy Jones with a very smoking engine in the background. Schlemmer is now back out on track on an outlap. Let's start his lap. Let's follow him round. Sweeping first turn. So easy, just pushed a bit too hard and run onto the grass as we saw Steve Davis do the second ago. As maybe pops up in 7th. Ben Crooks is still only in 8th. Schlemmer pushes very hard into the middle of that corner, then gets the car straightened up once again for the exit around turn 3. 10th and a half down at the moment, doing all the track and more as you can see, into turn 4 now. Very easy to run too wide there as well as the track heads downhill. Very difficult to slow the car down. Turn 5. Power as smoothly as you can now, car lined up for turn 6. Hit the curve on the outside, clip the curve on the inside. Head up the hill now under the bridge. An extremely testing corner here, almost blind. And extremely easy to run wide, as Schlemmer has done right there. Exactly the problem with that corner. And immediately after the corner, even to get that corner right, you've got to get the car back across the track for the tricky hairpin. Very bumpy under power as well. Schlemmer is not happy with the temperatures in his tyres. Getting ready for another run. Slowing the car down a little bit. But Ben Crooks is on a purple first sector, so let's follow him. What has he got in the second sector? And he's still purple. He's lost 0.02 of a second, but it means he's still up on Tobias Schlemmer. He's going to be very close here. Remember Tobias's extremely wild moment out of the final corner. So Crooks gets a nice tidy final sector. Could be pole position for the former championship leader. Championship ever since Adelaide. Now it's Strauss who leads. Crooks is back to 3rd, and he has a 69-point gap to bridge, and he can come across the line, and he goes to pole position 28.246. As I called it, Schlemmer lost around about 0.2 of a second with his sloppy final corner and the corner before that, and Crooks takes pole position. Provisional pole positions, should I say. Still 8 minutes to go, of course. Him and Schlemmer are a long way ahead of the rest of the field. They are the class of the field at the moment. This will be Crooks' second pole position of the season. He can hold it. Pole's been very spread out this season. Only Strauss has been on pole more than once this season, but Crooks is looking like he's going to try and upset that. Schlemmer's not had a pole position this season so far, despite the fact he's had 2 wins. And Crooks is not going to improve his time by driving like that as he goes flying off the track. Kind of some D1 style. 7 minutes to go. Some traffic. Matt Clarkin behind. Jeff Dillon just letting him through. 5th place is Nielsen. 6th place is Lennon. 7th place is Norbert Lyon. 8th is Adam Egby, who's about to start another hot lap. 9th is Schmick. 10th is William Levesque. 11th is Steve Davis. Levesque looked like he was on a good lap there, but not decided he's going to go back to the pits. Maybe he's disconnected. No, his car's still there. So he decided to abandon that lap. 11th Steve Davis, who was saying. 12th is James Johnson. He'll not be happy with that in the slightest. He was 4th fastest during practice. It looks like he's doing something about it right now because he's only just 0.4 down on Crooks in this lap so far. If he only loses another 0.2, he'll still be in 4th position. He'll bump Strauss down to 5th. Nice and tidy out of the final corner, a little bit sideways perhaps, but nothing too untoward. James Johnson going to cross the line now. And it's a 29.0. We lost another 0.3 in that final sector, but he's still 6th, so a big improvement from where he was in the grade 12th. Be happy with that. Steve Davis, he knocked down the field further and further. 13th is Matt Clark, 14th is David Jones, another strong run from him. So 15th now is Jones, because 13th is the returning John Milton. See how much the pit lane exit is raised from the ground compared to the track. 17th is Jeff Dobbin so far, another driver who's been very consistent this season, picked up the points, made sure he finished the races, competitive results. 17th is Lee Palmer, maybe enjoying his first stint in Division 1. 18th is Stenbeck, 19th is Josh Barton, another person making his debut in Division 1 this season, showing good pace in Division 2, plenty of top 6 finishes. 20th is Ernesto Brock, and he's just gone ahead of Ernesto Brock. It's Philip Antonio who's now up into 19th. 21st is Ernesto Brock now. 22nd Ilovano, 23rd Churchill, 24th is Yari Venari. I'm happy with that. He's struggling compared to his teammates. Season further and further the gap has got between those two, despite Venari's excellent 5th place results at Oran Park. 25th is Tim Brook, won't be happy at all. 26th is Gardner. 27th is Roy Magnez, and 28th is his good friend Joachim Skalstad. Magnez and Skalstad some way off the pace at the moment. Ben Crooks is still on that pole position. 4.5 minutes to go. Obviously not comfortable in that pole position because he's doing another hot lap. Flamo's on one of those hot laps. Comes into the final sector. No purple sectors so far, but he could be very close. Not sure what the gaps were. Very late apex there, perhaps just slightly too fast into the corner. See what the Germans got. Not enough, I'm afraid. 4/10 down still. Still enough for 2nd place though. Still faster than Jesper Torborg's time so far. Jesper Torborg has improved again, but not by enough again. He just keeps improving by a few hundredths of a second each time. Ben Crooks goes through. Florian Strauss still only in 4th position. Hidden Valley winner. Championship leader at the moment. 5th is Lennon, he'll be pleased with that. 6th is James Johnson. 7th is Anders Nielsen, again he'll be pleased. Looking for another great run from great action from Lennon, Johnson, Nielsen and Leitner. They always produce excellent close racing. Megbeer's joined them in recent races as well. Schmeck, Levesque and Davis always keep the watch and brief on that sort of battle for the 5th place. But throughout the season it has been Tobias Schlemmer who's improved immeasurably over his early form. He's only 2/10 down after the 2nd sector, so obviously able to keep the sprint tyres in good condition. He's on his 2nd hot lap in this run. We have time for another run. Pushing a bit too hard into that final sector. Gain getting out of the shape. Gain getting way wide onto the grass. Ben Crooks going to come across the line as well. Will he improve his time? I don't think he's going to. He does actually, in fact, by 0.03 of a second. Won't make too much difference in the end, I don't think. I'm not sure Tobias will be able to do a 28.2. Ben Crooks is determined to get that championship lead back. 150 points for a win, remember, so there's plenty of points up for grabs for the rest of the season. Next after this we go to Pukekohe Park for round 8. Another sprint car event, but then after that it's the Enduros. It's Phillip Island 400 and the Bathurst 700. That's where the real points are on offer. Co-drivers in use there as well, and co-drivers who have not driven the full season as well. It's very interesting to see who these drivers bring along, team them up for those Enduros. Florian Strauss, quarter of a second down after the first sector. Maybe he can improve his time and get ahead of Torborg at least. Can't see him getting pole position. He's 4 tenths down now after the second sector. He's going to have to really equal Ben Crooks' time in the final sector, which was an excellent final sector, so see what he can produce. Oh, he went far too deep into that. We got very, very late apex perhaps. Lots of different lines being shown through there. Some taking a tight line, some taking a very wide line, going for the exit, and it's not worked. Strauss, whatever he did, because it's 30.746. Then he's also on another hot lap. And James Johnson goes up into third position, brings Strauss down to fifth. James back up to where he was during practice. We played for that just over a tenth of an improvement. It was enough to bump him up 2 places. And we've got Anders Nielsen and Norm Leitner on exactly the same lap time, 29.076. Incredible stuff there. I did say they always produce good close quarter racing, and they have done once again. Vanover left the game, but now he's back in the game. Gary Lennon through his hot lap. Let's go on board with him for the final corner. 2 different lines everyone's taken as Lennon goes in quite early, then goes back in once again. Wasn't a great corner, I don't think. Will he improve his lap time? He's improved by just over a tenth of a second to improve to 4. Not going to do so though, 29.509. Mick is in 10th, Levesque is 11th, Davis is in 12th. At the end of the session, so whoever is out on track and cross the line can complete another lap, but that's it. I think Ben Crooks is going to have pole position. Unless Florian Strauss produce something here. No, he can't, but he can produce enough to just get ahead of James Johnson up into 4th position. That's 4th to 8th, covered by just 2 tenths of a second. By Schlemo coming around the final corner now. Can he produce anything to challenge Ben Crooks? Runs very, very wide out of the final corner, doing that huge amount. No, it's winning the pits. James Johnson will not be able to finish his lap. Maybe Lennon will be able to. Didn't quite see whether the time had ticked down before Lennon finished his lap. He's 6 tenths down on Ben Crooks, so he's got a chance of improving his time. An excellent final sector though. Definitely was when we went on board last time. Looked quite smooth. Maybe not into the corner just as much as he would like. Not using much of the track either on the exit. See what the Scottish driver can do. Can he improve? Can he get ahead of Johnson? Can he get ahead of Strauss? No, he can't. 29.283. Again, losing so much time in that final sector. So that's the lineup finished for you. Congratulations to Ben Crooks. That's his 2nd pole position of the season. Only the 2nd driver to have more than 1 pole position this season. I'm going to go to warm up now. 10 minutes warm up. And we'll review the grid for you. Say front row of Crooks and Schlemo. 2nd row of Torborg and Strauss. 2 teams, My3ID and 360 Racing, going toe to toe once again. Time My3ID Gaming having the edge in qualifying, but we'll see how it happens, how it turns out in the race. 5th and 6th, the 3rd row, Johnson and Lennon. 7th is Nielsen, 8th Leitner, 9th is Egbeer, 10th is Andrea Schmidt. Top 10 by just over a second. The 6th row, Levesque and Davis. 7th row is Wilson and Clark. Clark will be pleased with that. The 8th row is Yunt and Dobbin. Dobbin will be pleased with that also as well. 9th row is Palmer and Stenbeck. Not quite as far up as Stenbeck would like to be. 10th row is Antonia and Josh Barton. 11th row is Brock and Ilovanov. 12th row is Churchio and Binari. 13th row is Gardner and Brook. They won't be pleased with that at all. 14th row is Magnez and Scoustad, and that rounds out the drivers for this. Come on board one of the top 10 drivers out on track. Norbert Lionel, not seen very much of him during this qualifying. He got 2nd place last time around at Oran Park. Took advantage of plenty of cars there. Lots of accidents from all of the drivers. We're looking for another strong run here as well. And I'm just going to eat yogurt while we watch the action go by and warm up to sustain me during the race. For anyone who's interested, it's a Strawberry Muller corner. Feel free to donate them. Also, if you didn't hear earlier, I apologise if I sound very strange at times, like a space alien, apparently according to some people. Unfortunately, it's because my mic is currently a little bit broken. So nothing I can do about that at the moment. Until I get a new mic in a couple of months' time. So please bear with me. Hopefully it doesn't happen too often. And hopefully it's not happening right now while I'm explaining it. Tim and Steve think they're being hilarious in chat by asking obvious questions just to wind me up. Oh, those jokers. Okay, it was 4 minutes ago in warm-up for the start of the race. Just to let you know that the mulligan I had was actually delicious. Florian Strauss has gone faster in warm-up than he went in qualifying. Still would not just about got him into 4th position, because I think Tolbach had 7.07. Still, he's improved in warm-ups. That shows he's got decent race pace at least. So we'll look for a top 4 battle once again, with perhaps James Johnson managing to get in amongst that and making a top 5 battle. Hopefully that does happen. The more drivers up the top, the better. Johnson naturally usually gets off to a good start. Crooks has been a bit tired this season with his starts, as has Strauss. Schlemer often gets mugged in the first couple of corners. He's often get criticised for being a little bit soft. See what happens here. Of course, pit strategies will come into play as well. As we get going before the race, just like to thank, of course, RSM for their excellent mod they produced for us to race. So, of course, team behind Eastern Creek. It's an excellent job with both the track and, of course, RSM have done an amazing job with this mod. All the guys there, Kevo, Gavin, Phil Bacon and Doug, all done fantastic jobs. Kevo is the modeller, Gavin is the materials guy, he does skins. Phil Bacon also takes care of that sort of thing, and of course there's Crunch as well, who does the physics with Bacon. Devin Greenway, Devin West. 3 main guys along, of course, with Jason Millgate. And they all do excellent work. I'm surprised to see them in some kind of commercial tie-up at some point in the future. But for now, we're able to enjoy this mod completely free of charge. And of course the track as well. Thank those drivers, those modders for the opportunity to do that. Of course we wouldn't have leagues like these otherwise. Just to note as well, Talk Direct Visitor will have both their drivers in Division 1 for the first time this season, Josh Barton and Joachim Skalstad. So that's exciting for them. 20 seconds to go in the warm-up and we'll be in the race. Of course, we do have a formation lap, so the race does not start immediately. Andrew Schmick says everyone have fun, but let me past. Not sure that's going to happen, Andreas. And Joachim Skalstad is reminding people that the middle pedal is its accelerator, which I'm not sure it's going to work either.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
And there is the famous words. Drivers leave the pits, go onto the grid. I bet drivers in real life wish they could leave the pits like that. Be better. Ken Crooks and Schleimo on the front row. Tolbong, Strauss, Johnson, Lennon, Nielsen and Leitner as they all form up before this formation lap. Track temperature is 26 degrees, air temperature is 27, so it's a very pleasant day in Sydney. Crooks is away from the grid. So all the field streams around. It's a lovely sight to see. Trying to get the camera in place so you can see them nicely, but it's not going to like it, is it? So there we go, that's a bit of a better one. Drivers stream around turn 3 on their formation lap. Some warming their tyres more vigorously than others, some conserving their tyres. That's mindful of the fact that these soft tyres do wear out very quickly and they do drop off very quickly indeed. It's one of the most competitive races I've seen this season so far, based on times in practice. Drivers are a bit more vigorous now. Come around the rest of the corners. Pumping the brakes. Warming the brakes and warming the tyres. Make sure the car's in the best possible condition to start the race with. Don't want to come down to the second turn and have no brakes and go straight off into the gravel. The gravel here is extremely deep. Very, very difficult to get out of. Tolbong will be one of those. We're hoping he gets through turn 2 this time around after failing to do so at Oran Park. Come back to score an excellent 4th position overall. Still could have been so much more for him. He weaves its way into position. Stopping on their marks. Drivers just doing the last minute preparations. Can Crooks get championship lead back? Can Schleimo go for his 3rd race win of the season? Can Strauss extend his championship lead? Can Tolbong get his 1st win of the season? Can Johnson get himself in the mix? All about to find out. Everyone's set on the grid. Lights going out. Our lights are out and they're away, and a great start looked like there from Schleimo, and a poor start from Crooks. Oh, in the background there's been a big incident. Several drivers involved, there's Sweekos drivers involved. Somebody didn't get away from the grid. Who was that? It was Levesque also back there as well. But anyway, as the field carries on through the first corner, Strauss is back to 5th. Johnson's up to 4th. He's challenging around the outside of Jesper Tolbong, not able to do so. Tolbong holds him off. But it's Schleimo once again getting a great start, up into 1st position. Crooks is 2nd, 3rd is his teammate Tolbong, 4th is Johnson, 5th is Strauss. That's exactly what Johnson needed. He needed a good start. See what happens at the back of the field. Let's try and see what happened at the back of the field. On the replay, back in the pits already is Andreas Schmick. Here is the carnage on. Let's have a look what happened. So went away from the grid. Somebody didn't get going. Who was that? It was number 46. That's Gary Lennon. Didn't get going. Nobody saw that he hadn't got going. Schmick ploughed into the back of him. I think Davis also as well involved. Yes, Davis was one involved in that as well. And Schmick is out of the race already. Poor Andreas. Gary Lennon again with a incident-filled race. Second one to go for him. Go back to live action now. Here is Lennon. Caught up to the back of the field. Didn't look like he got too much damage. Dobbing, Strauss. Where is Steve Davis after all that as well? Steve Davis is 21st. Steve Davis is 21st. He's lost 9 positions as a result of that. Not sure what happened. We'll get obviously an explanation after the race. We'll get one during the race, hopefully. But anyway, at the front of the field, and it is Schlemo who still leads from Ben Crooks. Third is Torborg. Fourth, as we were saying, is James Johnson. Fifth is still Florian Strauss. Sixth is Egby. I'll be very, very pleased with that. But already the top five have just dropped the rest of the field just ever so slightly. Egby getting past Levesque. 8th place is Leitner. 9th is John Wilson. And Nielsen's down to 14th also as well. Not a good start at all. Lee Palmer's already up to 10th. I was very, very pleased with that. Junt and Antonio are also taking advantage of all that to be 11th and 12th at the moment. And here is Anders Nielsen, his teammate, teammate to Lennon. Where is Gary Lennon now? Here he is, passing Yari Venari for what is 26th position. So all come unstuck for the 6th place driver. Now he's trying to go the inside of Joachim Skaustad. Doesn't look on the inside, more just to see the corner than anything else. Should be able to get the Norwegian driver out of the final corner. Just get a good drive off there. But at the front of the field, Schlemo and Crooks are at it, hammer and tong. Schlemo had to cover the inside there into turn 2. Crooks was having a go. This is allowing Torborg to catch up as well, of course. Field streams around. Top 4 have dropped also Florian Strauss as well. So Strauss is not in the best form here today. Schlemo still leads. Crooks is eager to get past. He knows how crucial it can be, especially if he's on a 2-stop strategy. Can't afford to be stuck behind Schlemo, who's on a 1-stop strategy at Oran Park and comfortably beat Crooks in the strategy game. Before Crooks had that issue, of course. Torborg is third. So the car's jumping over those bumps. Really is a car breaker here. At the back of the field, here is Lee Palmer and John Wilson, 9th and 10th place, having a good battle together. Junt is in 11th. There's Antonia just in behind as well, and Clark and Nielsen. Looking to be a very tasty battle indeed at the front of the field. Crooks is still extremely close to survive Schlemo. Schlemo's holding him off at the moment. Bit of dust there as the drivers enter turn 2. Not sure who that was caused by. Perhaps it's caused by Levesque and Leitner having a little bit of a battle together. There they are. Dust being kicked up on the exit of turn 3. And here's Junt. Junt's got past Lee Palmer. Didn't quite catch that then. That was a very untelegraphed move. Here is the replay. Lee Palmer looks like he's got out of shape out of turn 3. Gets out of shape out of turn 3, puts a wheel well onto the grass, and Junt immediately takes advantage. He was there straight through as soon as he saw that small mistake. Now he's managed to hold that position also well, covering the inside though into the hairpin. Zegby gets out of shape on the power. Lee Palmer pushing a bit too hard into the penultimate corner. Antonio right on him now as well, of course. And Antonio, of course, being pushed along by Matt Clark. Oh, out of shape, gets Lee Palmer out of shape once again. And he's going to drop down another 3 positions, perhaps. And Schlemo and Crooks are hard at it once again. Still, Crooks can't find a way past the German driver. But another 3 positions lost there for Lee Palmer. Back in behind Anders Nielsen now. Nielsen is trying to get past Matt Clark. Plenty of lots of brakes there into a tight turning in zone for that corner. They're heading out the hill under the bridge. Corner you have to really need to tidy on. Can't push too hard. If you push too hard, you have to shape for the next corner anyway, so not much point. And also you wear the tyres at quite a rate of knots, and Nielsen looking down the inside of Matt Clark, not able to make the move stick, and Tony still leads from then. Yuntz and Wilson. Here is Levesque and Leitner. Leitner in the grey car, Levesque in the black and white car. The top 5 have checked out from the rest of the field. Adam McBeer is in 6th. There he is. But there is Florian Strauss, just hanging on to the back of the top 4 actually. The times have evened out by quite a margin. That is up to 22nd now. And at the front of the field once again, Schlein was running wide at turn 1. And again Crooks in a nice tight line. But again he's not able to find a way past. This is where strategy is going to come into play. Is Schlemo overdriving the car? He looks more ragged than Crooks. Crooks like looking after his tyres much better than Tobias. Crooks just likes to drive the car into the corner with lots of throttle. There's lots of strain on the tyres. So we'll see how this pans out. Torborg's still there, very, very close indeed. There is James Johnson as well. It's very, very difficult hairpin. Big bumps on the middle of the corner and the exit. No surprise with it that Crooks has been fast at this circuit. He's been fast of course all season, but like I said, his car's very, very soft front end, and this track is very, very bumpy, so perhaps that's paying off for him. Top looked like he was going to get a good run off the corner there, but just lost it at the last second. In the background, Steve Davis in 16th position almost went into the pits with a slide off the final corner. Back up to 16th already. Carolina's in 22nd still. Nikola Ilivanov next on his list. Back of the field is Yara Venari, racing with Joachim Skalstad, Jeff Dobbing, Giuseppe Churchill and Roy Magnez. Lennon has got past Nikola Ilivanov, now looking to challenge Reese Gardner. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, as we can see, gaps are staying very constant. Extremely close competition between these 5 drivers. Very, very intense competition. Extremely close in lap times. Strauss is 2.6 seconds off Schleber, but that's more to do with the fact he didn't have a good opening 2 laps. He's not been able to close the lap because the lap times are so close. But Matt Clark has left the game. What's happened to Matt Clark? Try and find out for you. Suspension damage apparently. Not sure what's happened to him. Very, very strange indeed. I think he's just disconnected and hit something that's very, very strange. I can't exactly see what happened to Matt Clark there, unless he's got much more damage going further back. In the replay, trying to find out for you. But no, can't exactly see what happened to Matt Clark. Perhaps his game froze and he was thrown across the inside of the track, but whatever it was, I can't tell anymore. While Torborg is under pressure from James Johnson. Johnson, another one of those drivers, has improved throughout the season. Not able to get a win yet, or a pole position, but he's getting closer and closer with every round. And of Nathan Ford moved up a position, of course, after the loss of Matt Clark. Carolyn now up to 19th position. He's trying to get past the Nestor Brock. Obviously his car's not been too damaged by the... Doesn't look like they've got any damage at all to be honest, but whatever damage he has, very, very light because he's able to cut through this field extremely quickly. Again, Crooks is close, but not close enough to have a go at Tobias. These top 5 have now a big gap at to Egbeer, and Strauss going to catch now his teammate from 2.6 to 2.3 seconds behind. See if we can get any word from Andrea Schmeck on the forums about what happened to him. Andrew Schmick is not happy at all about what happened on the grid. As well he might not be. And then Crooks lost some ground to spare it. Track temperature now at 34 degrees, so it's risen quite a lot from 26 at the start of the race. We'll be starting to hurt cars. We've had 2 retirees so far, Clark and Schmick. Schlemmer has the biggest gap he's had all race long. He has a 1 second gap. Johnson has got past Jesper Torborg. Sorry, I didn't miss that off camera. It must have happened. Try and find out where that happened at least. We can't. Oh, well, we were on replay this then still. Here we are. By a long way. Obviously trying to find out about Andrew Schmick's opinions, what happened at the start. And here it was. Rounds under the bridge, down into the hairpin, a great move up the inside, just about squeezed in. Torborg saw him coming at the last minute, had to let him through, and that's a good move there from James Johnson to make his way up into the 3rd position, looking very, very strong, getting stronger and stronger as the race goes on, as he has throughout the last couple of races. Look after his tyres extremely well. Now Strauss is putting Torborg under pressure. Like Torborg's struggling, looks to be struggling since about lap 7 or 8. Perhaps he's overheated his tyres, perhaps he's just backing off. Sadly, I don't think he would want to back off too much. These top 5 are extremely close together, 2.6 seconds after 10 laps covering the top 5. The top 3 are now just ever so slightly pulling away as somebody in the foreground there has put grass onto the circuit. It must be Jeff Dobbing, because Jeff Dobbing has been into the pits, I believe. He's now way, way at the back of the field. But again, the battle at the front of the field is extremely intense, and Crooks has immediately closed that gap down to Schlemo. Now into the 30.1s. So lap times have been off. Crooks, seeing that Johnson is coming, being held up by Schlemo, really can't do much about the German driver. Johnson is coming around the corner, but going to have another go at getting past a My 3 ID car then into the hairpin. Of course he didn't. These top 3 dropping the next 2. Oh, and Johnson extremely hot into that corner there, almost taking out the back of Ben Crooks' car. I thought it was going to be a big, big accident. And where has Crooks gone? Where has Crooks gone? Don't tell. Oh, there he is. Has he disconnected? He slid off track. His game is obviously frozen. Getting going once again. But he's had these PC problems time and again over the last couple of races. So the PC problem that took him out at Oran Park. He gets going once again, but he's going to be way, way down the field. What position is that? He's going to So he's going to be behind Josh Barton. Now in 15th position as a result of that. What a shame. Looking to be a great race at the front of the field between those three. And look at these lot. There's Lennon going around the outside. That's Lennon. It might be Nielsen actually. It is Nielsen. Nielsen trying to go around the outside. Then the inside of Antonio's done it. And then we saw Wilson and Yunt in battle also as well. Oh, and Yunt's gone off. Yunt gone off. Simon power. Wilson hits the back of him. Nielsen gets held up as well. And Antonio. Lee Palmer's trying to take advantage of all that. And they all sort themselves out. Nobody actually passed anybody in all that. Well done to them all. Could have been a big accident there. But they all backed off. Gauch has been into the pits also as well. Here's Leitner, he's up to 6th. He's got past Levesque eventually. He's looking to try and get on terms with Egbeer, who's 5th at the moment. Strauss and Torborg are losing more time to the top 2. Here is Johnson. Going on the outside, looks like either Churchio or Reese Garner. I think it's Churchio. Yes, it is Churchio. Between Johnson and Showers, 0.8 seconds. This is Johnson's chance to take his first win of the season. Ben Crooks is already up into 14th position. He's got Lennon behind him, so those two will follow each other through the field. Drivers who are one lap down are Churchill and Skaustad. Must have been into the pits. I think he's not far off being lapped as well. He's been in the pits also as well. As has Tim Brook. And he's now coming out of the pits. Not sure what happened to him, but Torborg is into the pits. Torborg's into the pits. So he's on a 2-stop strategy for sure. Here he is. 4th in the championship. Not had a win this season. Tim Brook comes out of the pits. He's now lapped down also as well. He must have had some big damage because he was quite a way up the field. Around about 16th position. Like he's lost the back end of his car and he's parked it. Car is absolutely wrecked. Not sure what happened to him. Torborg, 11-second pit stop for him. Obviously on a 2-stop strategy. Feels so slow in that pit lane. And away he goes once again. And now that puts... Where's what Jesper Torborg? Jesper Torborg is now in 15th position as a result of his pit stop. Lots of drivers pitting at the moment. Ben Crooks is in 10th. He has not pitted. He's picking up positions as a result, of course, of all these pit stops. There he is. Oh, I had him there a second. There he is. Ben Crooks in 10th. Lennon in 11th. There is 9th place Tonya. 8th place John Wilson. 7th place Nielsen. 6th place Yunt. Levesque and Magnus in the pits as well, of course, you can see on screen. Here is Light now, and he's really caught up to the back of Adam Egby extremely quickly indeed. Perhaps Egby has made a mistake at the point because the gap was around about 2 seconds. A couple of laps to go. Strauss is into the pits. So he's on a 2-stop strategy as well. Johnson and Schleimo carry on. Obviously feel that their cars are competitive. Perhaps they're on a 1-stop strategy. 1-stop strategy will see them hit around about lap 19 or 20. Strauss into the pits and out once again. Quicker pit stop than Torborg, 1.4 seconds faster. So it should see Strauss leapfrog Torborg when he comes out of the pits. Let's just see if he does. Get back to him. All this chopping and changing. No, Torborg goes there's a big gap on Strauss, so maybe Strauss is a bit slow entering the pits. Ben Crooks now 8th as a result of that pit stop. All those pit stops going on. Look at this lot also again as well. Antonio, Wilson, Nielsen and Yuntz fighting it out. Hammer and tong. Wilson going up the inside of Nielsen into the blind left-hander. He might think he can do it, but he can't. On off the track has gone Nielsen, and Nielsen lost 2 positions. He tried to hold it around the outside, didn't work, and now Nielsen back up the inside of Antonio. Nielsen trying to get the power on. Oh, almost touching on the exit. Have at it, boys, and around the outside now is Antonio trying to hold on to that position. He forces his way in there. Great driving from here, but Nielsen's going to cut back. Trying to go the inside for the final corner. Not quite able to do so, and Antonio has the position. So that small mistake from Nielsen, under pressure from Wilson, sees him go off the track. And Yunt now is into the pits, just about getting that car slowed down for the pits. Sliding and slithering under braking. Also in behind comes Gary Lennon. So he must be on a 2-stop strategy also as well. There is Tolborg. He's got Ernesto Brock in between him and Florian Strauss, which is important. Strauss goes straight past Brock on the exit of turn 1, so that's no longer the case. Now he has Barton in between instead, so Lennon has been into the pits. And Jones as well, there's Tolborg. Ahead of Tolborg now is Shell Stenbeck. Stenbeck must be on a 1-stop strategy. Crooks has cut up to this battle. It'll be helping him no end, these drivers battling so much, because he'll be able to gain so much time. He may lose time now as they're all battling together. He's done with catching them really a 2 laps later, just before his pit stop. And Nielsen again on the inside of Antonio. Great racing from these 3 drivers. And Nielsen scoops up the inside of Antonio and takes the position back once again. I wonder if Crooks is coming into the pits this time around, because he's not trying to get engaged with these drivers. They still leads from Johnson by less than a second, as it has been throughout the race, really, from Crooks or Johnson. And now Crooks is going to come into the pits. He's not going to come into the pits, but Wilson does come into the pits. So what sort of strategy is he on? And Crooks has the run off the corner. That's the inside now for turn 1. You don't be on the outside at turn 1. And Antonio has to back right out of it. And he's going to line up Nielsen also as well, down into turn 2. Great move there from Ben Crooks, just about up the inside. Nielsen is arguing around the outside, touching as he come off the corner. That should be Crooks' corner, going around turn 3. Nielsen struggling to keep the power on, and Crooks is up into 4th position. Of course, it's all jumbled up with the pit stops, but Crooks is back up to 4th already after the spin. But look how much time he's lost. Tish Lane has lost 33 seconds as a result of that technical issue. He'll be seething inside, cursing his game and his PC. Johnson is 0.9 seconds behind by Schlemo now. Any of those hit this time around? No, they don't. They come around. They're definitely on 1-stop strategies. There's Leitner in 3rd, again in a 1-stop strategy. Again, extremely solid, the Hungarian driver. Ben Crooks in 4th, 5th is Anders Nielsen. Not giving up the hunt to try and get back past Ben. Given the speed that Ben has shown, I don't think he's going to get back past. Again, they're all very, very spread out now as they go through this pit stop phase. Here is Barton and Brock. They're engaged in a good battle. They're on a 1-stop strategy as well. Let's reset it for you. Egbeer, Lennon, Wilson and Davis are all on 2-stop strategies. Levesque also as well. Egbeer is way down the field now. Back behind Gary Lennon. 12 seconds behind Gary Lennon, so not sure what's happened to Adam Egbeer. Perhaps he's sped in the pits or he's had a spin. Doesn't like any damage on his car. Whatever the case, Egbeer is down in 19th when he should be more around about the 9th or 10th position after his pit stop. So something's happened there. Churchill, Ilovanov, Magnez, Gardner and Skalstad are already 1 lap down. I'm happy with the race as well. I won't be happy with their performances. But Schlemo comes into the pits this time around on lap 19. So after 19 laps, Tobias Schlemo gives up the lead. Johnson takes the lead. So Schlemo's now completed 18 laps, comes into the pits. He's going to have to do 21 laps on this second set of tyres. Johnson carries around the track. See if he can put in the great outlap here and gets ahead of the German driver. The Alpine driver is searching for his first win of the season, may I remind you. See what sort of gap Torborg and Strauss have caught up to Johnson as well, because they've been driving around on fresh tyres. Of course, they're on a two-shot strategy, so they need to gain a huge amount of time, unless they have a very, very long final stint. But it's always logical to have a shorter first stint than the final stint, because the first stint is often more frenetic, with more drivers around you, and you end up wearing the tyres out a lot more than per usual. Johnson comes around now. He should be pitting this time around, really. Can't afford to drive around on used tyres. Is he coming into the pits? He is. Into the pits comes the leader, James Johnson. Pit entry. Johnson does his pit stop, much longer pit stop than Torborg or Strauss, of course. And he's going to rejoin way behind those drivers. There is Schlemo, and Schlemo's got a big gap on Johnson also as well. So not sure how that's managed to work itself out. Strauss is now right behind Torborg once again. Crooks has been in the pits as well. He's had to go on a one-stop strategy really to claw his time back. So we're seeing that pit stop takes around about... Johnson had a 34-second lead, I think, before the pit stop. So a pit stop takes around about 53 seconds. We lost 7 seconds. 6 seconds to Tobias Schlemo, so... not sure what happened there. Whatever the cause of it, Schlemo is now way ahead of Johnson. Of course, Schlemo has 1 lap less fresh tyres. That shouldn't make 6 seconds of difference, so he'll be very close to the way that strategy has worked out. It's Leitner who's now in the lead of this race. So he's going into the pits this time around though. And yes, he is. So it means Torborg will now lead this race. In comes Leitner, who's that coming in behind as well. That looks like Anders Nielsen's coming in. There he is. That'll promote Johnson up into the top 4. So now we've got the top 4 reversed from before. The group, the 2 guys who are ahead of the other 2 guys, now swapped around positions. Torborg has a 0.7 second lead over Florian Strauss. Coming up to the lap, Jochen Skalstad. Of course, has gained back his lap after the pit stop. Have played themselves out. But has now been lapped. So Antonia and Skalstad are a lap down. What's happened to Antonio? Surely Antonio must have had a problem in the pits, speeding or something like that, because he's now a lap down in 25th position. He was fighting with Anders Nielsen and those sort of drivers for 11th and 12th, really. So that's a big shame for him. Back in the field, 6th is Lee Palmer. Don't think he's pit yet. 7th is Steve Davis. 8th is John Wilson. 9th is Gary Lennon. He has been into the pits, so Lennon is coming through the field very well indeed. But of course, he's on a 2-stop strategy, if I remember. I really need a pit strategist sat next to me, noting all of this down. Can't get the staff nowadays. The track is 35 degrees. The temperatures continue to rise throughout the race. Everybody's up to 11th. Of course, he was in 6th before the pit stop, so he won't be happy at all. In fact, he was in 5th before the pit stops because of Ben Crooks' problem. Ben Crooks has got past Liz Nielsen after the pit stops also as well, so next on his list is Adam Egbeer. And Lee Palmer carries on. I'm sure he hasn't pitted. If he did pit, it was the quickest pit of all time. Johnson is now some 7.6 seconds behind Tobias Schlemo. Schlemo's getting held up though. Matt Jochen Scousted, not for long. That's cost him a few valuable tenths of a second. Scousted just a little over a second behind Jesper Torborg, who leads this race, with his teammate Ben Crooks in 12th position. Of course, Crooks is on a 1-stop strategy. There's several drivers ahead of him who are on 2-stop strategies, so he should be able to pick up some positions. It looks like the 1-stop strategy again is the one to go for, with that ultra long pit lane, that extremely fast straight that goes past it. They finish lap 22 of 39, 17 laps to go. Look at the gains that Schlemmer's making on these fronts. He's only 4.4 seconds behind them, despite the fact they're on 2-stop strategies. He's only on 1-stop strategy, so his strategy is working brilliantly at the moment. And if those drivers are just going for an early stint, a shorter first stint, then he has much fresher tyres than the drivers ahead of him. So he's looking on course for an excellent second win in a row and a 3rd win of the season. Who would have thought that after his poor showing at Yas Marina earlier in the season, and then his average showing at Adelaide, but it really came to life at Melbourne. Won the race there, has been a race-winning contender ever since, which is 4 seconds behind Jesper Torborg now. Johnson's gaining on these drivers as well. 6.8 seconds behind by Schlemo. We'll see how far behind he is now after the next split. 6.6. So he is gaining on Schlemo because he was at 7.4 at one point. But Torborg's gone off. Torborg has gone off. Torborg has spun it. Where is that? That's down at turn 2, is it? No, it's the final corner. The final corner. Jesper Torborg has spun it. The race leader is thrown away a race challenge once again, just like at Oran Park. He will be kicking himself. There he is. Maybe there was a bit of contact with Strauss. No, there wasn't. Look at this. Just off the track by himself. Just pushed a bit too hard on the entry. Ran across the gravel onto the grass. There's a bit of lag there. He just obviously got the power on a bit too much and spun him back across the track. He reversed back onto the track. Managed to just leave a little gap for Schlemo to sneak through. And Strauss gained a second on Schlemo as a result of that. But Torborg now is back to 3rd. And he really has to make this run stretch out. Whether he's got the fuel to even change his strategy, I'm not sure. Either way, he will not be happy at all with himself. And Johnson's just 4.7 seconds now behind Schlemo as a result of that. So Schlemo lost more than that. Schlemo lost about 2.5 seconds. And Strauss must have lost about 1.5 seconds just avoiding Torborg spinning. And now Johnson's got the problem of Torborg ahead of him, slowing him up perhaps from catching Tobias Schlemo. So it's just 2 360 Racing drivers at the front of the field once again. It's also at Hidden Valley. They've got an excellent 1-2 there, a very close 1-2 victory. Crooks is up into 11th, just to keep you updated there. Garland is into 10th. And he's just ahead of Ben Crooks. Just ahead of Lennon is John Wilson, with Leitner just ahead of them. So Crooks could get to Leitner. That will be around about 5th place on the corrected strategies. Schlemer's gained half a second on Strauss on that lap. And look at Torborg. He's under massive pressure now from James Johnson. Obviously that spin will have upset his rhythm. Of course, James has much fresher tyres on at the moment. Slightly heavier fuel load, I would guess though. So the fresher tyres are doing their job. And he's right in behind the British driver. Don't forget Jesper Torborg is a multiple Touring Pro Series race winner. Lots of races. 2 championships as well, the American GT Championship and the American Touring Car Championship, and through on the inside comes James Johnson, sweeps through, great move from him, clears Torborg in less than a lap. That's a fantastic result, and he'll be very, very pleased that he can now get on, get his head down, and trying to catch back up to Tobias Schlemo. He's got a 4.5 second gap to him, and Schlemo is gaining hand over fist on Florian Strauss. This driver's going to have to stretch it back out to a one-stop strategy, I think. If they got the fuel for it, of course. And the gap is now it's 2.2 seconds now. The gap. So the gap's come down from 4 seconds to 2.2 in just one lap. Tobias Schlemo is flying 1.2 seconds faster on that lap than his teammate. 3.5 to 2.2. Sorry, not 4. Overexcited there, but that's still 1.2 seconds faster per lap than his teammate. Of course, if Strauss holds up Schlemo as well, that allows James Johnson to possibly catch. And again, Schlemmo took another 7/10 out of Florian Strauss in the first sector. Torborg has come into the pits. Torborg is into the pits, so he's definitely sticking with that 2-stop strategy. I'm not sure it's going to be the answer. Having a 5th place finish, leaving the 6th is the best he can hope for today as a result of that. Comes out of the pits, you have very, very fresh tyres for the rest of the race, of course. But he's now way down the field. And here is Crooks and Lennon hard at battle. Lennon hard to get past at the best of times, sliding the car through turn 2. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Schlemo is getting ever closer to the back of Florian Strauss. 1.1 seconds now is the gap. Schlemo's fastest lap has been 29.275. set on lap 3. Strauss is fastest lap 28.9 set. Not sure what lap that was. That was set on lap 17. Maybe the fastest lap of the race. It's not going to be enough, it looks like. Strauss has not got the consistency that his teammate seems to be showing. In fact, the fastest lap of the race has been Ben Crooks at a 28.7 on lap 2. Well, he was in pole position. Now he's way down the field in 10th after a technical issue. He's on a one-stop strategy. So it's putting him behind a couple of 2-stop strategy drivers, of course. Let's check back up the front of the field. Here is Schlemo. There is Strauss. The gap is less than half a second. Will Strauss, in the interests of the team, let Schlemo go through easily? Brake lights are flickering there on Strauss's car as well. Looks like he's really, really struggling. His car's not set up at all to do long stints. And Schlemo's looks like it is. And Schlemo goes up the inside. Strauss cuts him off. This is going to help James Johnson catch up. James Johnson must be trying his heart out at the moment, trying to catch up to these two. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres. Whether that makes enough difference, I'm not sure of that. Strauss surely needs to come into the pits. Of course, coming into the pits will lose too much time, so he just needs to stay on track. It's a difficult situation for Strauss. He's coming into the pits. He is coming into the pits. He's sticking with the 2-stop strategy. Strauss comes into the pits. Race leader. Here he comes, in behind Giuseppe Churchio. Sorry, no, that's Reece Gardner. Sorry, they've got very, very similar liveries in terms of colour and scheme. And Crooks still can't get past Gary Lennon, losing him valuable time to catching Norbert Leitner up ahead of him. Johnson is 2.4 seconds behind Schlemo. So after all of that cleaned out, Johnson has gained almost 5 seconds on the German driver. Schleimo came up with a 7-second gap after the pit stops over the Englishman, and this is going to be a deep-dog battle to the end of the race. And Strauss comes out of the pits. He's going to be passed by Steve Davis and Norbert Leitner. Steve Davis on the outside of turn 1. There is Leitner on the inside as well, going off the track. Who is that? It's John Wilson pushing far too hard. He's got it into the gravel. No, it's Antonio, sorry, going into the gravel. Antonio's trying to get out of the way, I think. Trying to stay out of the way now as well of this huge battle between Wilson and Antonio. Antonio goes into the grass, almost pushed back up in front of these two here. Strauss now up the inside of Davis. Davis desperately tried to squeeze the German onto the grass, and he couldn't get through. Of course, leaving in Carlin, it was very, very fair, but very, very aggressively that Davis tried to stop Strauss getting through. But Strauss has got through. Now he has Norbert Leitner in his sights. I don't think Ben Crooks will be able to catch Strauss now. Won't have enough tyre life to be able to catch Strauss. So the target for Crooks is Leitner. Leitner won't be able to hold off Strauss for very long either, I don't think. James Johnson 2.5 seconds behind Tobias Schleimo. He's got 8 laps to close that gap. It's only 3/10 per lap. That's easier said than done. In fact, he's got 9 laps to go to the gap, so it's about 2.5 per lap. So see what he does. Leitner now desperately trying to hold off Strauss. Steve Davis is coming into the pits. He's one of those on the 2-stop strategy. He slowed the car down extremely early. Into the pits again came, I think it was Rhys Gardner coming back into the pit, so obviously he's had a problem there. Steve Davis comes into the pits. Stop on his marks. You drop down the field now as well, of course, up down to 10th. And Crooks. I'm not sure what's happened to Crooks. What has happened to Crooks? Let's just check that out on the replay. So we move up through the field. Oh, he tried to get past. See if we can see that on the replay live for you guys. Find out where Crooks is. Here he is. There we are. You only just see really not enough of a connection really to take every driver. But he tried to go up the inside of Gary Lennon and span into the gravel. Only a short delay, but it's allowed Torborg to get past him. And Torborg, of course, going to have much fresher tyres. And Torborg's lost lots and lots of time to Strauss, of course. Lots of time. More than I would expect. 6.4 seconds behind that driver now. So Strauss leads from Leitner by 1.4 seconds. He leads from Gary Lennon by 4 seconds. Then there's a small gap back, of course, to Torborg. There's Antonio hanging in there. Antonio's got plenty of speed, but he's just had an unfortunate incident somewhere in the race we haven't seen. Crooks is now 7th, and he should be in 6th. Of course, he's going to lose more ground to Florian Strauss as a result of this. He won't catch up to Florian Strauss. Of course, there's lots and lots of points available at the Enduros. Double points to the Enduros. And make sure they have no problems there. 400-kilometre race going up at Phillip Island. And after that, a 700-kilometre race at Bathurst as Torborg tries to go around the outside of Gary Lennon. He's making the move. Stays on the inside for the next corner. Great move there from the Danish driver. That's exactly what Ben Crooks has been trying to do for the past 6 or 7 laps. It hasn't worked. Hurt for Torborg, but Torborg has much greater tyre life than Crooks, but still, Torborg has shown Crooks exactly how it's done. He won't spin into the pits as well. Can't remember if Gardner's on a 1 or a 2-stop strategy. He might be on a 1, sorry. There's only 8 laps to go, of course. No point in pitting now. Got what you're given. Got what you've got, even. Use it. And 1.9 seconds now is the gap between Johnson and Schleimo, who'll be desperately hoping that Brock doesn't hold him up here. There's lots of H's in that sentence, I apologise. Johnson is being held up ever so slightly, trying to get back past the Brazilian driver, and Brock lets him through eventually. What's the gap now? Split's just coming up now here. 2.1 seconds, lost a couple of tenths. Can't afford to lose any time at all, really. He's 2.1 seconds, and he's got just 8 and a bit laps to close the gap in. Strauss looks set for third position, barring any problems. Lennon has pitted again. So Lennon has pitted again. He's only had 8 laps to go, but he did pit again. That promotes Crooks to 6th. And it's going to be too much for Crooks to catch that Leitner. He won't get that 4th position, I do not think. But I think Torborg may get Leitner before the end of the race. Strauss is way, way back. It shows the one-stop strategy is far superior at the moment over the two-stop strategy. Especially if you look after your tyres. It looked like Strauss and Torborg were able to look after their tyres. It looked like it was probably the best strategy for those drivers because they were working their cars so hard. They need to look for different ways to drive their cars, keep them under control. Johnson is not gaining on Schlemo by enough. Don't think he's going to be able to do it. Schlemo's just encountered a little bit of traffic. So far, every driver up to 14th has been lapped by the leader. That shows how dominant Schlemo and Johnson have been here today. Of course, Crooks was extremely dominant as well. He was going to be on a one-stop strategy. He would have been right there. But several instances have cost him. He lost 33 seconds in that one technical error. And he's lost 14 seconds since then, just battling through the field. Yara Vinari is making the best of a bad day. He's up in 15th position. He's got John Wilson all over the back of him. Let's have a quick look at Yari. Oh, here is Egbeer and Stenbeck. Let's look at these guys. Egbeer's nose up the inside of turn 1. Oh, it's so dangerous. That could have been a big accident there for Stenbeck. And Stenbeck just about held Egbeer off. Egbeer fighting back after a problem earlier in the race. Should really be in around about 5th position. Or fight at least in the top 8. And this position is for 9th. Oh, it's Lee Palmer, sorry, not Adam Egbeer. It's Lee Palmer having a great run. He's ahead of his teammate Adam Egbeer. It goes up the inside of Stenbeck. It looks like he fancies his chances of getting past. Davis is catching these two drivers quickly as well, but he's on a two-stop strategy and has much fresher tyres. There's Egbeer also. Don't know if he's catching them. But here's Gary Lennon. He must be able to get past these 4 drivers very quickly indeed with those fresh tyres. Only have 8 laps on them by the end of the race. Extremely grippy they'll be. Just need to drive on the point smoothly, hit the apexes every corner. You should get up to those drivers pretty easily. Levesque on for a strong result in 8th position. We lost Reece Garner to a DNF. It has to do with his penalties that he had in the pit lane. Johnson is still 2.4 seconds behind by Schlemo. Looks like chase is not really going to happen. He's run wide onto the gravel there as well, trying whatever he can to catch up to the German driver, but the time he's lost in the pits just has been too much, I think. Of course, there is still 6 laps to go, so anything can happen. The way Schlemo drives, how calm he drives, he never makes any mistakes. He leads the race extremely well. It looks like this is Schlemo's race to lose. There'll be another podium result though for Johnson. Johnson's 3rd podium of the season if he makes stick. He's had several top 5s. But of course he wants more than that, as does every driver. Florian Charles looks set for 3rd. Leitner's going to come under attack from Torborg very soon. Crooks has got past. Oh, he's already ahead of Nielsen, sorry, because Lennon pitted, didn't he? So Crooks is in 6th. Looks like that's where he will finish at best. 7th is Nielsen, 8th is Levesque, as I was saying. Palmer has got past. Oh, where has? Stenbeck down. Stenbeck's now down into 13th. So what I was saying about Lennon getting all of these drivers pretty quickly, he may not get them so quickly because Stenbeck is no longer there to hold them up. Here is a good battle here. Steve Davis is sandwiched between two DSC Motorsports drivers, Lee Palmer and Adam Egbeer. Davis held up by that start grid problem, of course. Battle is extremely fierce, as we've seen throughout the race. Whatever position it's been, Johnson's got the gap down to 2 seconds now. It was 2.8, so perhaps Johnson's got a little bit of life left in him. Seen it before, of course, but he does come to life at the end of the runs. Another attempt in that middle sector, though. He had just lapped and Philip Antonio, so perhaps that contributed towards that. And now Lee Palmer just got slightly wide, and Steve Davis trying to nose up the inside of the course. Knew he couldn't really get past, but just pressuring Lee Palmer into making a mistake. As they come down this extremely long straight at Eastern Creek, it's what makes this track so difficult to set up for, because it's very, very long straight, and then all these twists and turns in the middle of it. All those bumps as well. The gap's down to 1.8 seconds, actually not 1.7, it's 1.8 seconds between Johnson and Schleimo now. So, perhaps Johnson has got a little bit left in that tank. To watch Egbeer trying to get past Steve Davis. Steve will be loving this battle. Here comes Gary Lennon to join in the fun as well. Those really fresh tyres. Unfortunately, in qualifying laps, just catch up to these drivers. And there are 4 laps to go. 3, 4, maybe 3.5, I would say, really. We're on lap 36. Tony's all over the back of James Johnson. He can't unlap himself, of course. Battle continues to rage. Continues to right hand, get closer and closer. Davis tries just to sweep across the track and try and stop Adam Egbeer from trying to go up the inside into the penultimate set of corners. Oh! Egbeer jumping over those curbs there. Lennon has caught all these drivers. He should be able to pick them off one by one over the next 4 laps. Gap between Johnson and Schleimo is now actually 1.7 seconds. What is it as they cross the line? Gap is 1.8. It's not gained. And every time, every sector doesn't gain, it's another sector lost where he could have got time back, where he needs to get back. Egbeer is now all over the place, trying to get past Steve Davis, but of course, you've got Gary Lennon all over the back of him. Gary just needs to set him up. Or fling up the inside, perhaps he's going to be here. No, not quite. Seems thinking about it ever since though, and Egbeer knew he was thinking about it as well, because Egbeer's gone extremely hard into there in case he was thinking about it. He can't really pass into this corner. Too narrow. Very much single file through there. Gap between Schleimo and Johnson, 1.6 seconds. And then desperately trying to get past Egbeer. Davies trying to recuperate, regroup so he can get past Lee Palmer. These 4 across the line. Reminder that this battle here is a battle just for 9th position. Jesper Torborg has got past Norbert Leitner. Did that down at turn 1. So Torborg on for a podium result. And what's happened to Florian Strauss? I'm sorry guys, I've missed that completely. Florian Strauss is down in 7th position. He was on course for a guaranteed podium. Has he had to pit again? He's not lost about 20 seconds perhaps. He's pitted again for a little bit more fuel. Not like he's got any damage to the car. What on earth happened? It was an easy 3rd place as well. No need really to push. And he's down to 7th. So Crooks is up to 5th. And that allows Crooks to gain points in the championship. That's incredibly important. Not sure what's happened to Strauss. We'll try and find out for you. Tried to sleep there, sorry guys. Didn't notice that anything had happened. Don't think we're going to be able to find out either live in the race. Trying to see if it had a pit stop at some point. Don't think I really can find out. Meanwhile, we'll go back to the battle for that 9th position. And Leonard's got past Eggbert, now trying to go around the outside of Steve Davis. Steve just goes in the middle of the road. Leonard can't go around the outside there that much. Keeps it in position. So trying to find out for you what happened to Florian Strauss. Gap between the two leaders is 1.9 seconds now. Looks like it's not going to happen, fortunately for James Johnson. Oh, it's out of... At some point, Strauss had lost some time somewhere, allowed Torborg to get past him, and then he spun again while trying to repass Torborg. I've really got no idea what's been happening there. But anyway, wherever it is, Strauss is down to 7th position. Looks like that's where he'll finish, despite the 3rd. It looked like he was on course for. Dramatic twist in the championship tail. Johnson now 3.2 seconds behind Schleimo. It's not going to happen. Schleimo's now on his final lap of the race. And he's coming down to the start-finish line. Go and see the triumphant German driver winning the race. His 3rd race win of the season. He'll take the championship lead. Johnson comes a valiant 2nd place, 3 seconds behind, but a great victory there from Schleimo. Again, able to make the tyres work at an excellent speed, taking advantage of problems for other people. Fantastic result there for the German driver. Johnson in 2nd. He'll be very, very pleased with that. He's continued to improve throughout the season, and he'll look to challenge at Pukekohe and going into the Enduros. 3rd place will be Jesper Torborg, with a recovery from the rest of the race, but with his strategy, that's the best he could hope for. 4th, going to be Nubbert Liner, another great result, and another person who manages to make the strategies work beautifully. 5th place is going to be Ben Crooks, who'll be pleased with that considering the problems he had. 6th place, Anders Nielsen. 7th, Florian Strauss. He'll not be pleased with that at all. He'll be furious with himself. 8th place is going to be William Levesque. Very strong result for him. He'll be very pleased with that. And now here is Lee Palmer desperately trying to hold off Steve Davis into the final corner. Out of it it comes. Lee Palmer's going to get 9th place on his debut in Division 1. 10th place is going to be Steve Davis. 11th, Gary Lennon. 12th was Adam Egbeer. And those were the final drivers on the lead lap with John Wilson, Stembeck, Juntz, Barton, Dobbin, Brock, Vinaria, Ilivanov rounding out that top 20. 21st, Antonia, who had problems, I think, in the pits. 22nd is Magnus, 23rd, Churchill, and 24th was Jochen Scoutstad. People did not finish the race were Gardner, Brook, Clark, and Schmick. Schmick involved in that start line pileup. 3 drivers involved there. More held up. But a great, fantastic victory there for Tobias Schlemmer. His 2nd in a row, his 3rd of the season. And he really is now extremely serious about taking this championship. Congratulations to him. Maybe we'll get a word with a couple of the drivers. Don't think I'm going to be able to. None of them are really on TeamSpeak for a chat. But well done to Tobias Schlemmer. Congratulations to James Johnson. Another podium result also as well for Jesper Torborg. Proves his championship position. Tobias Schlemmer will take the lead of the championship following Strauss's 7th place. Crooks will gain on Strauss of course, but lose lots of ground to Schlemmer. Johnson will move up the table as well. I think he may be only walk down to pass Torborg, of course. Torborg was 3rd, but Johnson strengthens his position. Leitner as well strengthening his position, so all those drivers are extremely consistent. Leitner really hanging on to that 6th position, despite the fact he missed a round at round 3. That was Melbourne. So you can join us again in 3 weeks' time when we head to Pukekohe Park for a fantastic less than a minute lap there. Always provides brilliant racing. We've seen that in division in 2010, sorry, in the Virtual V8 Supercars, and we saw that also as well in the World Touring Masters Season 2. Also a reminder, the World Supertech Series, organised by the TouringProSeries, as you can see on Race Department, is starting very soon. The first pre-season races are happening from next week, so be sure to check that out as well. We're using the DTM mod, the beautiful DTM mod, for the first season, and we'll be looking to move to R Factor 2 with that one. The Clio Euro Series has its finale in around about 10 days' time, with Adam Vaughan looking set to win that title ahead of Jesper Torborg. And also as well, the World Touring Masters Endurance will happen on the 1st of October. It's going to be at Targa Florio for that one. So make sure you try and get into that event if you can. And the actual 3rd season of the World Touring Masters, which everybody's been looking forward to, will start on the 2nd of November from Spa. And all details will come for that as well. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in 3 weeks' time at Pukekohe. And for now, I'm Ryan Cullen, and we'll see you later.